She has been asked to leave the property.
Stand up, Mr. Strada.
She's refusing to
I don't
leave
want to
the
use
property.
force. You're under arrest.
She is trespassing.
Please. You need to stand up. You are under arrest. And I don't want to use force.
Well, he looks like he ain't wearing the mask properly either, so neither am I guess.
Sir,
The rest us all.
It is not allowed, we're sitting far apart, there's nobody here.
stop talking at this point in time.
Go ahead and stand up, ma'am.
All right?
Please. Come on. Thank you.
Sir, are you going to place your mask up on your face?
Mr. Strada,
Sorry.
I know, I understand what you're doing. I'm asking you to please not put us in this position.
Hey.
We're not happy about it either.
He's the judge. He
I
can
understand
say,
that.
he can say whether or
He
not.
cannot. He's being held by the Supreme Court. He has a boss too. If they charge you with contempt, I have no choice. I do not want to do this. You've made your point. I understand it. Do not make me do something that I don't want to do. It's not an argument that I can have, okay? This is a public building. However, the courtroom belongs to the judges.
Yes.
They can hold you in contempt.
Yes, I understand that. He didn't
It's-
say that. He didn't call me in contempt. He told me trespassing.
Okay.
So the owner of this
I
building
think,
can.
no, I think he's incorrect in that I don't think that he can trespass you necessarily because it is a public building.
I
However,
was waiting for him to say, I'll hold you in
can't
contempt.
hold you in
Yes,
contempt.
I did.
Okay.
He did not say that.
okay, well, I don't want to play word games.
I know.
And I get your point.
Stupid.
It is. You've made your point. Please don't make me do something. I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of having to
The
charge you
sheriff
with a
says
crime.
he isn't gonna enforce the mask mandate,
The
so.
sheriff has no authority over, if a judge holds somebody in contempt,
You can throw
I
me
have
in
no
jail.
choice.
I have no problem
I don't
going
want
to
to do
jail.
that. I understand you don't, okay? You're not proving anything to me, I get it. I'm not here to try to intimidate you. I'm trying to, you've made your point. I can get clarification. If what he's saying is trespassing, I think what he means is he can ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, I believe the remedy is contempt. I don't think it's necessarily trespass. In order for me to arrest you with contempt, he has to sign the
Okay,
order.
I'm fine, I'm out here now.
Okay. Are you here for a case?
Yes.
Okay. What, are you
I
a
ain't gonna
witness?
go back in it.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
I ain't gonna put a mask on.
Okay.
So,
Then what I'll do is I'll get clarification from him. But if, I don't.
I would like to see
I
where
don't
it's
think-
written that we have to have a mask on in here. Where he says Supreme Court, where, this is bullshit.
No,
Where is it?
there is a Supreme Court ruling, but
Or
it's.
do you have it? Do you have it?
Yeah.
You can show us,
Ma'am,
like right
sir,
here.
I don't
Give it
care,
to you,
I don't
ma'am.
carry those around. I
Well,
mean,
if you.
I don't carry a statute book around either.
If you're making the people doing it, you should have them.
no. Here's the deal. There's a difference between rules and laws. We understand that. You said it in there. A rule may not be enforceable in other areas. If you go into a private business and they say you need to wear a mask in here, they can tell you to leave. It's a private business.
Yes, I get that.
The difference here, if you
Yes.
walked into the sheriff's office and they said, hey, you need to put a mask on, and you didn't, nothing would occur, okay? The difference here is a judge has the ability to hold you in contempt.
He better remember that when it's time for re-election.
Okay, well, that's,
Okay.
we all have that
I'm out
ability.
here now,
Yeah, I
it's
get
fine.
it, okay. So I will get
Out here, I don't
clarification.
need a mask.
I
But it
understand
says
that.
masks are required in courtroom. It does not say it needs to be on your fucking face.
Okay, well, I think we understand that. I get.
Right?
No, not right.
Does it say it has to be on your face?
I know how intelligent
I
you,
have-
ma'am, I know how intelligent you are, and I understand that certain things are written with the spirit of a rule. Not everything can be spelled out.
I had a mask in my hand.
Okay, well, and what they said was that that's not acceptable. I think everybody else that goes in there understands that that's not the spirit of that rule. It doesn't change your disagreement. I'm just saying you're not gonna find a loophole on it with that. The courtroom is the courtroom. So I appreciate where you're coming from. You're not gonna get any argument from me, but there are rules. Like, we have to get through this proceeding. Okay, and I understand that. So if you'll give me a moment, we'll figure it out. If he's willing to, I think this is a resolution. If this is it, then I'm gonna go back and sit down and we're gonna testify for our case. Can you do me a favor? Can you have Maggie come out so I can just clarify with her? If you don't mind me asking, which case are you here for?
For Michael Walter,
Okay.
P&Z.
Oh, it's a P&Z. Is it a trial?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I had a mask in my hand.
I understand, but that's not the rule, Mrs. Strada. You know that. So I need to know, I think the judge is incorrect on the trespass thing. He can hold her in contempt. If he wants to hold her in contempt and he wants us to take her into custody, I will.
Let me-
But it can't be a trespass. The other thing is, if we have something printed, I don't know if you've ever been asked for it. Is the Supreme Court ruling printed anywhere, or can we print it? If we can print it, I will hand it to her.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna wait out here until I get clarification on the judge if this is an adequate resolution, or if he wants her.
I think it should be a contempt of court.
It is. It can't be
'Cause it's a
trespassing.
rule.
Yes.
We're under a Supreme Court order. It's a rule, not
Agreed.
law.
Trespass is different.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's correct.
Let me just press the
Okay,
button.
and I'll wait out here. They're gonna print it up and we'll hand it to you. I mean, so you can see what it is they're talking about. It's not gonna change it, you don't agree with it. So, and then I'm getting clarification. If it's a trespass, I don't think that that's valid. If it's a contempt, then I have no choice. You can go back in, guys. It's fine.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Alex, would you let me know when it's time for us to testify, please?
I'm good on it.
I understand. I don't know right now what they want to do, so I'm just going to sit out here with you.
It's because there's no remedy. They just put these things on there and then, oh, what happens if somebody doesn't do it? You
Well,
know?
I mean-
It makes no sense.
I
It makes no sense. It just gives power to the government. And then when it's questioned, y'all don't know what to do.
do know what to do. I've already explained it. I think I have unfortunately, in the beginning, we didn't. But I think I've got a grasp on what's going on. And I'm telling you that, like I said, if this happened in other places, you know what it would happen if it was private property. We agree on that.
Yeah.
Government property is different. I don't think there's a remedy there. A courtroom, though, where a judge can hold somebody in contempt, I can't charge you. There's no charge for a violation of a rule. It's law. So if this happened anywhere but a courtroom, I don't think the police would be able to do anything with that. So, but a courtroom is different.
It says masks are required in the courtroom. It does not say they have to be on face.
Okay. And I think, I understand what you're saying. If you had gone in there and that had been the argument, if there was clarification given, I don't think you could be held accountable for anything prior to clarification being given. But if this was your courtroom and somebody comes in, whether you agree with it or not, and you say, you know, whatever, you're holding your mask, I'm sorry, I understand what the sign says, that you have to have the mask on. Once that clarification is given, then I think you have a decision. I mean, nobody can say you have to sit in there with a mask on, but the consequence to that is you can't be in the courtroom. And so it becomes problematic.
Well, everybody should go in there and take off their fucking mask and tell me kiss my ass.
Well, I don't like masks any more than you do, I promise. But there are certain things.
It's not even the mask.
Well-
It's the point of the authority of putting shit on people that doesn't make any sense.
There,
It's like go in there, oh, you have to have a crew cut to be in there, okay? Because somebody could do that, right? Obviously with this mask law, the way, or whatever they call it, they put it on the books.
you're arguing a point that I don't disagree with. But my thing is, in order for certain things to happen, there has to be some respect for rules or decorum. It's disruptive. If that's what they choose to do, okay, we would never get any hearings done. Nothing would ever get done in there.
Making people into sheep.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I want this to end just as much as anybody else.
But the
And
judge has a thing to say, hey, I ain't gonna listen to the fucking government.
I don't think, no, it's not the governor. It's the Supreme Court. And I don't think he can say that. I mean, well, of course you could. If you went in, I think, if you own your own business. If you worked for somebody else,
Yeah, but, okay, so I own my own business
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I don't wanna rent to some queer-ass gay people. I can't do that. I have to rent to them.
there are rules.
So it's stupid, so don't say, oh, it's your own business,
No.
you can make your own rules.
What I was going to say is that you have
The government has too much.
okay, well, I'm not gonna change that. I respect your opinion. That's really all I can say. Like, it's not about debating it, because there's no point in us debating.
Can you come back here to the side of Can you come back?
The judge wants to talk to you in his chamber.
Okay.
To leave the property, he's refusing to leave the property, he is trespassing.
You need to stand up. You are under arrest, and I don't want to use force.
Well, he looks like he ain't wearing the mask properly either, so neither am I guess.
Sir,
Arrest us all.
It is not allowed, it's, we sit far apart, there's nobody here.
stop talking at this point in time, all right?
Please.
Sir, are you gonna place your mask back on your face?
It's a public building, you can help us.
I know, I understand what you're doing. I'm asking you, please not put us in this position.
Hey,
We're not happy about it either.
he's the judge,
I understand.
he can say whether or
He
not.
cannot. He's being held by the Supreme Court. He has a boss too. If they charge you with contempt, I have no choice. I do not want to do this. You made your point. I understand it. Do not make me do something that I don't want to do. It's not an argument that I can have, okay? This is a public building. However, the courtroom belongs to the judges.
Yes,
They can hold you in contempt.
yes, I understand that, he didn't say that. He didn't call me in contempt, he owed me trespassing.
Okay.
So the owner of
I
this building
think-
can put
No, I
me.
think he's incorrect in that I don't think that he can trespass you necessarily because it is a public building.
I
However,
was waiting for him to say, I'll hold you in
can't hold you in
contempt. Yes, I did that, he did not say that.
well, I don't want to play word games.
I know,
And I get your
it's
point.
stupid.
It is. You've made your point. Please don't make me do something. I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of having to.
The
charge
sheriff
you with
says he
crime.
isn't gonna enforce the mask mandate,
The
so
sheriff has no authority over, if a judge holds somebody in contempt.
you can throw me in jail, I have no problem
I don't
going
want
to
to do
jail.
that. I understand you don't, okay? You're not proving anything to me, I get it. I'm not here to try to intimidate you. I'm trying to, you've made your point. I can get clarification. If what he's saying is trespassing, I think what he means is he can ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, I believe the remedy is contempt. I don't think it's necessarily trespass. In order for me to arrest you with contempt, he has to sign the
Okay,
order.
I'm fine, I'm out here now.
Okay. Are you here for a case?
Yes,
Okay. What are you?
I
a
ain't gonna
witness?
go back in. Yes,
Okay.
I ain't gonna put a mask on,
Okay.
so.
Then what I'll do is I'll get clarification from him. But if
I would like to see where it's written that we have to have a mask on in here. Where he says Supreme Court, well, this is bullshit.
No,
Where is it?
There is a Supreme Court ruling. But
Well,
it's-
do you have it? You
Yeah.
can show us,
I
like right here,
I
give it to you.
don't carry those around. This-
Well,
I mean,
if you,
I don't carry a statute book around
if
either.
you making the people doing it, you should have them.
No. Here's the deal. There's a difference between rules and laws. We understand that. You said it in there. A rule may not be enforceable in other areas. If you go into a private business and they say you need to wear a mask in here, they can tell you to leave. It's a private business.
Yes, I get that.
The difference here, if you
Yes.
walked into the sheriff's office and they said, hey, you need to put a mask on, and you didn't, nothing would occur, okay? The difference here is a judge has the ability to hold you in
Well,
contempt.
he better remember that when it's time for re-election.
Okay, well, that's,
Okay.
we all have
Okay,
that.
I'm out
ability.
here now,
Yeah,
it's
I get
fine.
it, okay. So I will get
Out
clarification.
here, I don't need a mask.
I understand.
But it says
that.
masks are required in courtroom. It does not say it needs to be on your fucking face.
Okay, well, I think we understand that. I
But
get
right?
No, not
Does
right.
does it say it has to be on your face?
I know how intelligent
I
you
have-
are, ma'am, I know how intelligent you are, and I understand that certain things are written with the spirit of a rule. Not everything can be spelled out.
I had a mask in my hand.
Okay, well, and what they said was that that's not acceptable. I think everybody else that goes in there understands that that's not the spirit of that rule. It doesn't change your disagreement. I'm just saying you're not gonna find a loophole on it with that. The courtroom is the courtroom. So I appreciate where you're coming from. You're not gonna get any argument from me, but there are rules. Like, we have to get through this proceeding.
Stupid.
Okay, and I understand that. So if you'll give me a moment, we'll figure it out. If he's willing to, I think this is a resolution. If this is it, then I'm gonna go back and sit down and we're gonna
Yeah.
testify for our case. Can you do me a favor? Can you have Maggie come out so I can just clarify for If you don't mind me asking, what your case are you for?
PMC.
This is the trial.
Yes, it is. I had a mask in my hand.
I understand, but that's not the rule, Mrs. Frazee.
No, it's just that I want you to show me where it says it has to be on my face. That's the whole point. It's like, goddamn. We're looking at this shit. And we're letting it. We're fucking letting it go to shit. You guys are supposed to uphold the Constitution. People have
Here for the
rights.
same case, sir?
Yep. We can't even sit by each other. We're fucking sleep together and screw all night, but we can't sit together in the freaking courtroom. It's ridiculous. Like, where did that come from? I heard the mask one, but this 3 feet apart, just start pulling shit out of their ass. To give people power. The power is in the people, not the entity. Government doesn't have the power. The people have the power.
I think it is, no? Okay.
Throw me in jail. God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I need a vacation anyway. Shit. Go visit my friend at CCA.
They're gonna print it up and we'll hand it to you, I mean, so you can see what it is they're talking about. It's not gonna change if you don't agree with it. So, and then I'm getting clarification, if it's a trespass, I don't think that that's valid. If it's a contempt, then I have no choice. You can go back in, guys. It's fine. You sure? Yes. Okay. Alex, would you let me know when it's time for us to testify? Yeah. They're looking to see what they're going to do. So I think this is not, I don't think it's happened in magistrate yet. I know it's happened a couple of times in district. So, and I think he's a newer judge, so he's gonna call and check.
I don't know, Maggie wrote me and asked me this, I got it while I was in there, she said, have you heard from this lieutenant? Is he still an inpatient? So I'm trying to figure out,
whatever, and they don't.
I don't think I have him on any
That's what
conditions of release.
I'm trying to tell them. I want to see what's gonna happen.
Many rules, I think people make rules with the assumption that, well, people just are gonna follow them.
Yes.
And in most cases, I think that's what happens. I think sometimes people, when they don't educate themselves, they confuse rules with laws. So it's, they're able to do certain things because people assume. But like I said, it's happened enough that we've had to educate ourselves, because 2 years ago, we wouldn't have known, and we would have just put handcuffs on you and that would have been it. We're trying our best to navigate this as well.
Why do you think put y'all in this situation?
Well, I don't take it personally. I don't think you're doing it. You're not being disrespectful to us.
Not saying anything, and it would have been fine.
I think the issue then becomes, it sets a precedent. And if your boss is telling you, whether you agree with it or not, if your boss is telling you, this is the standard, you have to have masks on in courtroom, and you need to make sure that people are wearing masks.
It's the same masks have to be on, so masks are required in the courtroom.
Right.
So
Well,
that was my point.
Right.
too.
Well, and that certainly, it exposes the fact that argument potentially could be made. It's not worded maybe as clearly as it could. But,
And I wouldn't have been disruptive if y'all would have just went on and not said anything.
and I don't think they have that option.
Why?
Because if they're going to enforce a rule, whether you agree with the rule or not, if they're going to enforce it, it has to be consistent.
When you look at the people, none of them even have it on right. Like his point is, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
I think
freaking
that.
make a rule,
Who's the
make
attorney
it.
on that case?
I don't disagree with you. I think
Because that was supposed to
with a
go
rule,
on
there needs to be
control.
consistency, and it needs to be
Sure they were
across the
supposed to
board.
run that together.
I think this is purely an opinion, because I'm not a judge, and these aren't my courtrooms. If I don't necessarily agree with the mask thing, and I see a guy come in there and the mask is below his nose, but he's got it on, I'm like, okay, if anybody complained, I'd be able to say that everybody here has masks on. I don't think it's a
There's guy
personal.
that looked like he came straight off the fucking street nasty, but he has a mask on, so he's fine.
Right.
But, you know, it's like, what the hell? If I had a rule, I'd be, you need a bath before you come to court.
Well,
you
here's,
know?
well, I mean, I get your point on that, but it has to be consistent.
All right, so you got court, right?
I do.
Okay. Do we have another deputy, transport?
I can wait until they're done with what they're doing and we can just alternate.
All right, what you can do is go ahead and take her into custody, hold her in the, cells, we'll get the, transport, and she could be transported.
Okay, and this is for contempt?
Yes.
Oh, it's fine. It's just that he didn't say that you are held in contempt because you're trespassing. He didn't even know the fucking job.
Well, let's not, don't turn it into something else.
I know.
Do you have any, you're her husband, sir?
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you
No.
would prefer to give to him?
No, I'm fine.
What about the jacket? Do you?
No, then I'll be going with no jacket to the mill. I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's okay.
doing this for you, you know, but it's,
I don't take it personally. I don't think this is, I think you had made your point, and I think now you're gonna have a consequence that's unnecessary.
I know, but that's
Just-
fine,
okay.
you know, that's fine.
Will you please take your scarves off unless there's a medical reason for those?
Sorry, Albert. I know, I'm fine. I know, it's, hey.
We're gonna go in here, we're gonna take an immediate left, okay? Right here, man. Right here. Chad?
Yes.
Are you on, do you have court or have you already gone?
I do have court, but we're
What do you have,
discussing
ma'am?
by.
My watch, but it's fine.
Why don't I give that to him? I would prefer if it's valuable, it's best to go to him. Can you sit back here with her for just a moment? Okay. She is in custody, she needs to sit down.
Mine's getting dismissed.
Okay,
so.
if you can just stand by with Mrs. Strata for a moment.
Sure, yeah.
Sir, I'm gonna give you this.
All right.
I don't have a clue yet what happens with it. There's not typically a bond set for a contempt hearing. I have to go back in front of the judge. As soon as they get the paperwork done, if you'll wait,
Okay.
I'll give you the paperwork and it will explain what's going on. She'll go from here down to Estancia, and if there's no bond, then she has to wait till she sees the judge. If there's a bond, then you'll know before you leave.
All right.
Okay. Maggie? Is there a bond on this, or is this a no bond pending a?
I'm gonna print out the commitment order and
Okay.
I'll have the judge fill it out.
Okay, I'll wait then.
I'm not sure what he's gonna do.
Okay. Do you mind waiting until they get that filled out?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna go on it. Mr. Hadley, go ahead and ask.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. The only,
Yeah, he hasn't worked since his PTSD had to learn to walk and
wow,
talk.
that's crazy.
Do you have your cell phone on you?
No, it's in my car. You want me to grab it?
Would you mind?
All right, yeah, I'll do that. Do you want me to grab the key and put her in there or something?
I would prefer not.
Okay, that's fine.
So there's a form for contempt that the judge has to fill out. The judge will fill out whether there's a bond, whether it's an appearance thing, or what the deal is. So, I'm sorry, what's your husband's name?
Alberto.
Alberto? Alberto's gonna wait until that paperwork's filled out so he knows. If there's a bond, he can start working on that. If there's not, then we're gonna take you down to the facility and you'll have to stay there until they see you on this.
Oh.
So typically today is Wednesday.
He said it Friday.
No.
No, I'm fine with it, I'm just like,
I mean,
actually wanted him to throw me in jail because it's stupid and it's like a protest, so.
I appreciate your commitment to it. Whether we see eye to eye on everything, that's irrelevant. I think the fact that you are standing up for what you believe is important. I wish it hadn't come to this,
Yeah, no,
but
fine.
I mean,
I just wanted to see what the judge, because we elected him in, and I thought he had more balls to just say, let's just go on with this, it's my courtroom, I can do what the fuck I want in my own courtroom, But,
One,
And today I went to the commissioner meeting to see about the undersheriff's raise. And the two Republicans sound like Democrats, and the Democrat sounded like a Republican.
as far as just,
He agreed. He's like, yeah, sure, let's pay him. And the two, they're like, no. How can we do that? I'm like, hello.
oh,
That's our stuff in that burglary.
awesome. And I was gonna
You guys
ask
can
you,
recognize them?
do you, have you ever done a geofence warrant? Where, like, for Google records?
No.
If you'd like, we can knock one out for you. If I can just get the basics of the burglary occurred on this date and specific time if we have alarm activations.
We can do that.
We've been very successful with these recently, and we're able to get device information if it's within this fenced area.
We've also got, we got them when they're doing the burglary on video. They have masks on, hats on, gloves on, you know, hidden. But about 30 minutes before that, they were at the TA and got a bunch of stuff there and didn't have their mask on or anything.
Do you,
So-
is this information that you do not want disseminated at this point?
You know, I don't think there's any reason why. We're kind of at a dead end.
Okay, so you don't have a problem if we send it out to the department? Like,
No.
hey, do you recognize these guys?
No, not at all.
And if you want, I can have Alex dump this real quick, and then we'll just give you your thumb drive back.
Whenever I'm not.
Okay, this is a nice thumb drive, I'll make sure Alex gets
It's
it.
like 16 gigs or something, but
Can you call dispatch and see if they can send a deputy up here?
Okay,
Alex and I don't have transport abilities.
I can transport here in a minute.
Are you headed down there? Okay,
Yeah, I
well,
got the Antarctic slicer I need to.
oh, yeah, if you want to take care of it then.
Okay. I'll have them create a call.
Yes, please.
Okay. And then I'll transport her as soon as mine gets done.
So I'm sorry, you were saying that they were, I'll look at this, Mark.
okay, perfect.
Thank you, sir. So you were saying that they
Okay.
flip-flopped
Thank you.
roles?
Yeah, he was like, you know, and when I first read the agenda, I was like, what the fuck does an undersheriff need that much money? But when he explained that he makes 3,000 less than a lieutenant, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because it should be in between a lieutenant and the sheriff.
It is. It's called compaction, and it happens because we were like really underpaid for a while, and the county commission made
They
steps
raised
to fix
everybody's
that.
except for the
So then
undersheriff.
you get compaction.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense, because I am that lieutenant, and it doesn't make sense when you make more than your boss. And he doesn't have the ability to make overtime. So it's a difficult thing to be, but it's necessary. Whether I expected them to do something mid-cycle, I don't know.
Yes, well, that was it. But they gave Janice a raise mid-cycle.
Oh, it can be done.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
and she
can
ain't even
do it.
freaking qualified. She's a fucking stay-at-home mom. She's just, you know, but after he explained it, and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, let's give this dude some money. And then so the new guy was like, yeah, and he's like, oh no, but we took away from Stephanie. We took away 25. How can we give 25 back? Like, yeah, but she wasn't fucking qualified. She wasn't doing shit. And so.
Well, I think we agreed that the position had sort of, that position
They
had sort
deferred
of
it
grown into something
till
strange.
July, the
Okay.
new fiscal year. But if I was him, I'd say, fuck yo, you know? But I know he's got more, you know, he's
Yeah,
not,
I mean,
yeah.
he-
You know,
he's working hard,
Yes.
so, and I
Well,
think
then, and then it brought up about those two bills to the toll from the past administration. And the new guy, the new commissioner was like, oh, did the undersheriff find that? And the little lady, sweetheart, what the hell's her name?
the administrator?
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Yes, she was like, it was between me and the undersheriff, we found these stuff. And so he's like, see, there's your point. He's doing stuff above and beyond. He shouldn't be looking through who's, you know, and finding it. So I think they should have approved the 92,000 today, my opinion. But I don't know why.
Well,
And like I said, we
politics are nasty.
elected those two guys in. Now we just have to look in the future and say, why? Because if you suck, whether party or not, if you suck at if you're not doing what us the people want, then next, I don't know why they keep voting the damn same people.
Well, I think a lot of people don't educate themselves. I think they just assume.
Well, like this guy, he went to my house. Sure, I'll back you. But I actually wanted Ray. He's a fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
And he screwed himself because he switched parties. So that's shady. To me, I'm like, Ray, you should have stayed as a Democrat. I think you had a better chance as a Democrat.
Yeah, I think that upset a lot of folks.
Yes, it did. It upset me.
I think if you just stick with it and be like, hey, this is my deal.
Yes.
I think a lot of people can look past parties if they like somebody's ideas.
Yes, exactly. Especially in a small town when
Sure.
you know the people.
Yeah.
So I think he screwed himself there by switching party over to the Republicans, but that was Jones and them gave him that. Because I'm like, who told you to do that? So well, Judge Jones said, well, a lot of people like Judge Jones are sick and tired of him already too. But
Let me ask you a question. You don't have to answer any of these, obviously. Well,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Are you really here for a court proceeding, or was this just an opportunity
no, I'm here
to sort of?
for
Well, I knew you were here with
Yes.
Mr. Is it Walters?
Yes, poor guy.
Okay,
They're
so-
fining him $1,200 for trash blowing in the damn.
So you were coming either way.
He's my neighbor.
I got you.
And I bought his property. Well, actually, I swapped him. I have a house here in Moriarty with running water, electricity. He's living in a nomad.
Well, I remember it's been a few years since when I first met him, but he was living in a camper.
Yes, well, that backs up to I own like 500 acres, and so I'm like, hey, want me help out?
Okay.
I have to give you a house. Let's swap properties. So I was like,
That was
okay, so
nice.
he don't own this anymore. He's getting out of the county. He's moving to the municipality. Let's just leave the dude alone. I know. You gotta talk to people at their level. He's annoying and he's PTSD. He's kind of crazy. But the P&Z guy, and I'm on the P&Z board for the county.
Well, there's a lot of issues with that seems to be a source of contention with a lot of folks because it gets into, that they think it's government overreach with a lot of that
Yes, it is.
stuff.
People, and I'm his neighbor. So I'm like, so if he has blowing debris and getting fined for that, shouldn't I be the one bitching about it? Because he's my neighbor. And I've never, until he just happened to mention it one day, I gotta go pay.
So do you have he lived off of, what was it?
It's
Is it North Riley?
no, it's before Riley.
What's North what?
It's not really a road.
Oh,
He lives off of Highway 55 a mile.
Yeah.
But nobody even knows when he's there.
but it's like a short road and then it makes a hard turn
Yes.
to the right? Okay, I remember him. Yeah, the first time we dealt with him, he was out of his mind. He was not okay. But I've dealt with him subsequently and he's always been very friendly.
No leg guy, crazy as hell.
Oh, Raymond Carbell.
Yes.
Yeah.
He lives about a mile and a half from in front of me. And my husband has no taste or smell ever since the injury. So these stinky guys don't bother. So he helped. If I can get along with Ray Carbell, if us.
Ray was a porcupine.
He was a local.
Yeah.
And so this guy too, I'm like, leave the dude alone. So I swapped properties. I got 80 acres and he's got a house here in Moriarty with running water,
Sounds
electricity.
solid. He wasn't going to do anything with the 80 acres. I think that's a great trade for him.
Yes, everybody told him to, and for me too, so that gives me another, I'm trying to get rid of, I have 15 houses.
Well, don't you rent a lot of them out?
Yes.
I don't know how you do that. In this community, I don't keep track of folks. I don't know how you do that. Let me go check on the paperwork.
Do you want me to, I told dispatch to put me and you both on the call, because I didn't know.
I'll do a sup and upload my video, but if
Okay.
you just do the paperwork.
Okay.
It's essentially a court commitment.
Okay.
You're not transporting anybody else, are you, Chad?
No, sir.
Okay.
I just had this one case, but I'm dismissing it because nobody came from Speedway.
Okay.
It's a shoplifting case.
Okay.
Nothing too major.
Maggie, is that not probably going to be done till the end of court?
What I'm trying to figure out is if I need to open up a case now.
Okay.
That way it's already, I have a case number, or if we're just gonna do like a generic order right now.
Okay.
And then do the charges later. Because the one that's pressing the charges is not the sheriff's department, it's the judge.
Right.
So I'm trying to clarify to make sure
Okay.
that I'm doing it correctly.
So Chad is back there. He'll just sit with her until we figure it out. I'm going to be in the courtroom because we're going to have to testify. If you'll just wave at me, I can come back out.
I'll call Sherry
Okay.
just to get guidance.
Okay.
To see.
Sounds good. If you'll bear with us, sir, they're still working on the paperwork, trying to figure out what they're going to do.
I understand what you're saying.
So there's still, honestly, I still think there's a possibility that they're not going to do this. I don't know.
Okay.
They're still looking, they're calling people. So don't put her anywhere, like just have her relax.
Okay.
And then we'll figure things out when we need to.
Okay.
And her husband, Alberto, is sitting out in the lobby. If we get the paperwork, we need to advise him what it says as far as bonds, so he knows what the next step is.
Okay.
But I'm gonna sit in for court
My
for a
son's
few.
in there too. He works for a Montessori. You know Montessori?
I do. So,
So,
he's been around a long time.
yes.
So, I mean, there could be legal arguments here.
Yeah.
What
Well, I just want it questioned. That's all my point is. It should be questioned. And what's the consequence for somebody doing it? If it was me, I would have brought 40 people and say, take off your fucking, just to be a bitch. But I'm being a bitch on my own.
I'm glad, well, you're being
And
decent with us.
It took my husband by surprise because he didn't know I was. He's like, "Oh, we just came to help Mike." And now I'm like, I know what got into my head.
Yeah, it's,
I'm
like
I
I
wanted to
said,
see what the judge was going to do.
you've been fine with us, and so we're not gonna treat you badly. If this is, certainly, like I said, I respect the fact that you're willing to stand up for something. I hope that whatever happens here works out. I don't want this to turn into,
Thousands and thousands.
yeah, I'm not, that's not worth it.
Okay.
So,
That's
all right,
okay.
I'll be back in a few
That's
minutes.
I'm just waiting now.
Okay. So, how are you, Sheriff?
I'm fine.
Well, that's kind of a silly question. So the judge issued a contempt order. He did issue a no bond pending, I don't know how long they have. This is what we waited on. This is a pretty rudimentary piece of paper, but what it says is that you cannot be bonded out. They're gonna set a hearing. He's not speaking, I can't get any more information on that. So there is no additional documentation. This is not a criminal complaint that we are filing. They're filing whatever paperwork they have.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
No.
It's the court doing it.
No,
It is.
I know.
So, and Alberto left.
Okay, did you let him know?
He didn't stay.
You can
If you have
serve
a
family
number,
members outside, including Nathan.
oh, well,
okay.
if they're out there, then I can go let
Yeah,
him know.
let Beto know because I know he has his PTSD with jail and stuff. So.
Okay, well, I'll go talk to him, and we'll figure out what we need to do with that.
Does that order say transport her to CCA or what?
Yeah, it's an arrest order.
He's stirring up a bunch of.
No, it's fine. It's not him. It's me. I wanted to see what he was gonna do. It's his courtroom. He
Do
could've-
I just do a quick report like I do like a
But
warrant?
he didn't say contempt.
It's-
I was
it's-
waiting for him to tell
put it
me
under
you are in
court
contempt
commitment?
of court.
Okay.
He didn't. I said you are here for trespassing. And then he called them back and had their little meeting because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And so they're like, no, you can't hold me in trespass. You have to hold me in contempt. But no, I'm fine with it. I just feel bad that I'm wasting y'all's time. There's other stuff that's more important.
You've been decent with us, we appreciate it. I don't take it personally. I am not happy that we're in this position,
I don't like it either.
but this is
No,
where
it's-
we're currently at.
It's absolutely fine. I just.
No, he's the judge and he can put out a contempt
Yes,
order.
he can do anything he wants. He just remember we elected him in there, and he's got to remember this. 4 years. So,
So you want me to let Beto know what's going on?
yes, let him
Yes.
know. Yes.
Just a court commitment, I'll do the narrative, I'll take care of all that.
Okay.
Donna already has the paperwork, but we'll have to do a booking like we normally would do.
Okay.
All right.
Did they by chance call, Bard, what was his name?
Sorry.
Yes, Barboa,
Barboa, yes.
they did call him.
And he got dismissed?
I don't know, I was out in the lobby,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, because that was the only thing I was here for.
All right, good luck, Christina, we'll talk to you later.
And you're gonna talk to the family out there?
Yeah, I'll go let them know.
What are you still on for, Kate? I'm gonna go with
what else are you supposed to do? Because you can't get another judge to come into a municipality.
You can ask for a change of venue too.
Sorry. So they issued the paperwork. It is a no bond. So it's a court commitment. It's not a criminal charge in that we're not filing a criminal information or a criminal complaint. The judge has to do that, but it's a no bond. So what that means is that she has to see the judge again before they will let her out. I don't know what the rules are as far as how long they have to do that, but that's what's going on. Okay? So I guess the sheriff's back there with her now. We've gotten what we need to do. She just wanted me to let you know. She'll be able to call you within a couple of hours, and that's where we're currently at. Do you have any questions for me?
What's the charge?
It's a contempt. There's no secret. I understand what your thought on it is. I understand what her thoughts on it are. If it's not in a courtroom, it changes the ball game. But in a courtroom, a judge has the ability to issue contempt.
How many contempts have he had since he's been on the bench?
Honestly, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. This is the first one I've ever been present for. I know that we've been dealing with similar...
Like district court, like those judges who are real lawyers, right? Like they know how to restrain themselves.
What typically happens, and I think what we've seen in district is it would have been more common, I think, to see maybe a hearing, an order to show cause hearing, but it is judge's discretion. I'm not in court enough to see a lot of them, but this is the first one I've seen out of magistrate, and I'm not aware of any recently out of district. But that's where we're at.
So when the sheriff made a statement, we don't enforce masks.
This isn't a mask rule. This is a contempt rule.
Over a mask.
The contempt is contempt. We cannot make a decision. I understand what the sheriff's side of it is. If a judge holds somebody in contempt, it is beyond any of our discretion.
And in less than 8 days, by the order of the governor, this is over.
You don't need to sell me on it, Nathan. I understand it.
Hey, you're the one standing here.
Well, because I'm trying to give the family the courtesy of, because I'd want somebody to do the same to me. I can explain the logistics of what's going on. I can't explain a decision a judge makes. I don't know why he made the decision he made. He made it, and that's why I'm trying to simply explain the logistics of it. All right.
Just to understand, and that I'm not being personal.
You know,
I'm being completely professional.
I'm fine.
At
It's
this
not
point,
personal.
Your name is tied to this.
I understand that, and so.
And it may be by court order, but you do not work for the judge.
The
sheriff doesn't even work for the judge, but the sheriff is elected to protect the judge.
I work for the sheriff, and I work for the people. And my understanding, trust me, we've had to think about this before. If I thought there was some way that it's legal wrangling, I think that the way this is handled is the way that my interpretation of the law is it needs to be handled.
And the only reason I'm not being a loyal jackass is because I have no, in instantia, I can throw a lot of bigger fit because I have some legal standing. Here, I'm just a citizen per se. But at the end of the day, this is crap.
I understand that. So I simply came out to let Alberto know what was going on, answer what questions I can. That's what's going on. If nobody has any other questions.
The magistrate judge doesn't have legal authority to actually arrest somebody, correct?
Well, can they take them to jail?
They cannot arrest anybody, right? So you guys would have to.
I think we'd be quibbling about what the meaning of an arrest would be. If a judge can order somebody into custody, to me that's affecting an arrest. Can they physically take them to jail? I don't believe so. We are absolutely the ones tasked with that.
Going to take my mother to jail.
We are. So,
Once you get to CCA and there's no female holding, then they're going to haul her ass to grants or something.
No, there's female holding there.
I will not be surprised.
Well, in Torrance County, they're required to hold her here.
Yeah, I'm honestly, Nathan, it's been a long time since we've had any issues like that there. We've never had anybody transferred out to grants, not since the whole thing when the facility was closing down. That she'll be at CCA. So that's my understanding of what's going on with all that. What's that? Yes.
So when she gets booked in there, she has to be arraigned to go in front of the judge that declared she's on a no-hold bond.
I don't know if an arraignment is part of this process. I've never seen this before.
And because I can
I don't know whether an arraignment is the proper term, but if they set it at no bond, then they have to set a hearing where the person comes in front of them to either set a bond, ROR, whatever the case may be. So if this was a warrant, for example, a judge would have to arraign them within a couple of days of being taken into custody, and then usually at that point, bond is either set, or if it's a serious case, bond can be basically be denied. What I would expect here is that this would have to happen pretty quickly because somebody's been taken into custody. What happens at the next hearing, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if bond is set at that point or if they just set ROR, and that's basically what I don't know. I've never seen this before. So, and there's nothing on the order that they just wrote up for us that explains that. So I can't give you any more information than that.
I'm just saying, I believe you're getting put in a fucked up situation.
Can I
Well,
get
I
a
agree
copy
with
of the documentation from the judge?
I don't know what they, if they released that or not. I would assume so.
Public record.
It is.
At this point.
To what you have to do to get it, whether you can
You
go.
want to do an IMPA request?
I don't know what they require. Now, I can tell you that we will have a copy of it, and it will be included. We have to write an incident report on this, and you can certainly go through those channels, and it would be easy for us to provide. I have no clue what the courts require, if they would just hand it to you if you walked in there or not. And as far as being put in a bad position, I'm not happy about this. But I honestly, I feel like I'm doing my job. I don't know that this is a part that I necessarily enjoy, but this is something that we've had to argue with or fight since this all started. And it's the one line that I believe that we cannot, there is no gray area on, is if a judge holds somebody in direct contempt of court. We're not arrested. The word trespass was brought up. I explained that I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think that's appropriate here, and that was said. So I do think that where we're at is where we're at.
Was he on record at that time when he was talking?
What's that?
Was he on record when he held my?
I don't know. This isn't a court of record.
Yeah,
but whether there's recordings, I believe. I believe if anything that happened in the courtroom would be recorded. I know that the entire time that I was out in the lobby with your mom, we were running lapel video.
Because I'm going to file an ethics complaint against him.
I understand.
I would like that, just because.
And I don't know the answer because I've never had to request it.
I know you got a right answer report, but is there an
Yes.
answer report currently being generated by dispatch? Did this go through dispatch? Or was he just off the bench telling you?
No, I asked Deputy Whitson to open up a call because we have to document, when we leave here with a person, we have to document what's going on. The call was not created by the court. The call was created by us because we're going to need to call out mileage, and somebody's going to say, what is Deputy Whitson doing going from court to here? From that call for service that we generated, the report is generated off of that.
And part of contempt of court is not listening. And now I'm just being semantics, because if you read everything, from what I understand, because I wasn't in there, she didn't violate anything that was said.
As far as, well, and I'm not here to say that she's...
Because I've been escorted out of this place for, that's a firearm. No, that is not a firearm.
Those are all options that are given. It is a judge's discretion. A judge can say, I need you to leave my courtroom, and she did. When she didn't resist, she was a little hesitant, but when she came with us voluntarily, and she was outside. The judge could have been enough if the judge chose for that to be enough. But I think the judge's point is that she was given a warning in court. And I don't know if I honestly do not remember if it was said that if you don't leave, you'll be held in. I don't know what was said. Okay. Then and that part I don't think we can trespass somebody from a courtroom. Whether we can or I don't believe we can.
I've been threatened also. Well, you're in contempt. No, I'm outside the courtroom. Don't tell me jack of shit.
I really think, and most judges, again, I'm not making any judgment calls here. When I've seen it before, the judge inside the courtroom, that's kind of the area that's talked about. And outside of the courtroom, it's kind of then at their discretion whether the issue's been solved or whether it's not. So that's where we're at.
And and like I said, this goes back to where does it end? No Catholics?
I understand the argument. I do. This is not a personal decision that I'm making, but I will stand behind my actions today because I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I think we did it as reasonably as we could. If I'm wrong, then I'm sure that I'll be corrected.
And I got that, like I said. Nothing personal.
I don't take it personal.
Just across the board.
I understand that.
And I've been fighting it for 3 years, and I have more problems with this court than any other. And I'm not even going to get into the semantics of this court shouldn't even exist because it's being rented from another judge. guys occupy the taxpayer courtroom that he won't sit in.
You can. Thank you.
You said 6:03 morning?
Chad, hold on. The judge wants her to be brought back into the court. He just flagged me down. So let's go back in through the front and see if we can get this resolved.
Good. Good thing we were just sitting there chatting for a while.
I'm glad that worked out.
Damn.
If you want to hang out for a second, I'll let you guys know.
Well, she's just leaving that because I have to go with town today. Yeah, I have to go with town. Keep your mouth shut.
This dangerous criminal.
Keep your mouth shut.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Can you give me just a second, Alex?
Okay.
Just have a seat here, ma'am, please.
You know, before I get to jail, I better get the mask.
Your husband and Nathan are just going to wait outside until we figure out what's going on with this.
Is that my mask when I left you?
It is.
I can have it in my hand. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
Would you like one?
Hi. The one I left. So did they make that guy pay? Oh, you were naming it. Did they make my neighbor have to pay $1,900?
What I heard, I think they came up with some sort of agreement. I don't know. I think they gave him 30 days to get moved, if that's what was going to happen.
That's awesome. We actually bought the AD&C right before him, and that was worse than his yard. But Bethel's already cleaned it out. I'm like, why are you skipping? Got him by a nasty yard to go, but it's because he pissed somebody off, which isn't hard because he didn't want.
He was on his best behavior today.
I told him to.
This is about the nicest I've ever seen him.
Yes, because I told him.
Well, good.
You gotta speak to them at their own level and do mental things. Like I said, we got along with Ray Carbell.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Poor dude. He would buy $1,000 worth of dog food in his plant. Yeah. Becca would go and help him unload it. He wouldn't feed himself.
No, I was just going to say he didn't spend any money on himself. He was a mean old bird. But if you just didn't let it bother you, then he kind of let off of it.
Yes. You gotta play it down.
But he liked the shock value of some of the things he would say, and if he'd get you riled up. It's been many years since he's passed. I don't know when
It's been a long time. They got that place cleaned up nice. Somebody bought it.
Good.
God.
I didn't think that place would ever be habitable.
Exactly. Oh, I knew it before him. I had a friend in high school that lived there. It was top of the line.
Really? Oh, it was.
The best flooring. Oh God, it was a beautiful home.
I saw it well after its heyday then, because that was not the way I remember it.
Becca would go and help him unload that dog food. And mice, by the thousand, they weren't even afraid.
He died there in that house, and the mice were chewing on him, and the dogs were chewing. Poor guy. He was.
All right.
Thank you. Maybe see this on our report, is it a story?
I saw it.
Saw it? Please don't see this report. Okay, I want you to understand, you're not under arrest for trespass. Okay? What you are being taken in custody for is arrest and contempt of court. Okay? Before I decide sentencing, do you want to make a statement or anything?
No, I had a mask. I don't know, I didn't cause the scene until they were screaming at me to put a mask on to get 30 feet away from my husband that I stood with every time.
I understand,
You know,
but
and,
there's rules that we have to follow.
well, I was following the law, I had a mask, and I moved away from my husband. And they're telling me that the police officer told me I was causing the scene, I was sitting my mind down in it. That was my point.
I understand, but I also asked you to, place you on, you were in that. Okay?
Yeah, but
So, we have to, we don't have a police officer. There's laws that I don't know. I'm just saying, in general, there is laws that I don't agree with, okay? But they are there, and there are laws that we have to enforce.
that's fine, I will follow the law, but there's no law saying I have to wear a mask.
Directives, right?
It's your courtroom. With all respect, Judge, it's your courtroom. And you have to.
We have to enforce what is given to us.
No, it's your courtroom. With all respect, if I was a judge at that place, I would have gone through it. Next case, next case. As long as I wasn't being disruptive, it was, nobody would have even said anything. There was people here with masks hanging off. You know, I had a mask in my hand.
I understand.
So, you know, I didn't mean for it, wasting your time, these people's time. It was the courts trying to prove a point, hey, our governor said.
But there is a decorum that must be maintained in the court, right?
But, yeah, but y'all were the one causing it, not me.
Well, hear me out. Like you are here today, wearing a shirt and shoes and things along that line. Show me the law that says you have to do that.
Oh, there was a guy sitting back there who looked like he hadn't had it back in 6 months. You know, it's your courtroom, you are disrupting the court, you speak.
I'm asking you, show me the law that says that you must wear a shirt, shoes, pants, right? As long as you're not exposing yourself, right? It's not a crime, right? But you do wear a shirt, shoes, and things along that line, right? So you don't see my point? Okay. All right.
You see my point? I had a mask.
I see your point.
And I wasn't being disruptive. Y'all was the one being disruptive, screaming at me from across there to put back stuff.
Nobody was screaming.
You have to scream because you can't even understand what the heck you're saying with that mask on your face. And you're far away. What's the point?
I'm not screaming at you, right?
Okay, so you were wrong to say I was trespassing, and now you're correcting yourself, saying you're holding me in contempt.
Correct,
Right?
the court. Yes. Okay? I'm gonna hold you for 1 day. In reference to this, because we do have to maintain decorum in court. Right? As I said, you might not agree with something, alright? I totally understand that. There were things that I didn't agree with. And I
You're
like
the judge, you have the power. You're giving the power to other people.
I'm not
It's your
giving- I'm not-
courtroom. We Torrance County, and you're cowering down to the.
I'm not cowering down.
Yes, you are cowering down.
All right, stop. You elected me.
Yeah, you're not there, boy.
Okay, so I see I'm not the middle of the top team at all.
No, you're not getting my point. I have a
I am
mask.
giving you your point.
What does it say? Does it say it has to be on your face?
You must wear a mask.
Is that what the statute says, or whatever you say, or the law, or whatever?
Yes.
And I asked,
Mask must be worn in the courtroom.
well, that, your sign should say that out there.
Okay?
It says,
Mask must be
it
worn.
doesn't say that.
Okay. I'm not gonna find you, but there is gonna be, court costs, in reference to this, case, you understand?
Yep.
What is the, duty for the, So I have the, paperwork ready for the, issue. I have the paperwork ready for you. Okay?
Should've just took me to jail and hit me with one mad. Oh, have to go that way.
I would do it. Well, that wasn't what we expected. So, well, let them know. Alberto? So they called her back in front of the judge, and he clarified that he cannot arrest her for trespassing, which I think we had already established that. He said he is going to hold her in contempt. She's holding steadfast, which, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything different with what she believes. He's going to hold her for 24 hours. So there's not going to be another hearing. This is basically, but it's a 24-hour court commitment. So she'll be able to call you whenever she gets down there, and then she will be released basically 24 hours from now. All right?
Okay.
So
On our own reconnaissance or just let out of jail?
that's it. At that point, it's not another. It's almost like he sentenced her just now on the contempt. So once that 24 hours is done,
That's her sentence.
that's it. There's no more.
Now, will this go into New Mexico courts?
I've never seen it. I would assume it has to, because it's an action coming through the court. So I would assume it has to. But I've done court commitments before, but never on. I mean, if this is just like a court commitment, it's usually attached to another case. I've never seen one independent of another action. But because it's being generated out of magistrate court, I would say it has to be in New Mexico courts. There has to be a record of it. Why am I still have this on? So that's where we've got. She'll be coming out here momentarily. If you want to talk to her, that's not a problem. She's been nothing but polite with us. That's where we're at. Do you have any questions that I can answer? I'm sure you have questions.
Well, there's no lawyers at this point that can jack her shit. Well, even if we brought a lawyer in 24 hours, ain't gonna do nothing. So,
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out how do I challenge this.
I think the challenge, and I'm not an attorney.
And I can
Any challenge would have to be, it would be after the fact. This is not something that's going to drag out where, because sentencing was done just now, there's no delay between the actual event and sentencing that you could make a challenge. The challenge is going to come post whatever it is. So, and what good does that do after 24 hours of somebody being in custody? I don't know the answer to that.
And, well, what statute is contempt of court?
I'd have to look. I can look right now.
I mean, it's got to be on the paperwork.
I would assume so. Well, a court commitment let me look, because I don't know the answer to that.
Because if he's holding her for 24 hours, it's got to be on some authority. And if it's the judge's authority by his statute as a judge, that's one thing. But something's got to go on the paperwork that you got to go back to, okay, what did we violate?
I agree. Well, I'm going to look and see if there's a contempt of court statute. There has to be a rule. If it's not in the criminal section, I've never seen it because I've never been in this situation. But let me look and see if I can find it. And I don't know if I'm mixing up terms, but my understanding from listening to the clerk is that the judge has to fill out something. They're calling it a criminal complaint, which is what we would do if we were to arrest somebody for a trespass.
Yeah, and
so
on
there'd
a
be
criminal complaint, there's not an immediate sentencing, you've got to have a hearing.
That's correct. Oh, on a criminal complaint, you're right. So that's why I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so it looks like it's 3539. That is jurisdiction for contempt, but it's magistrate court jurisdiction under contempt. And it says a magistrate has jurisdiction to punish for contempt only for disorderly behavior or breach of the peace tending to interrupt or disturb a judicial proceeding in progress before the magistrate or for disobedience of any lawful order or process of his court. No person shall be punished for contempt of the magistrate court until given an opportunity to be heard in his defense. And I don't know if that was the purpose of this. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I'm reading what you'll be able to read.
I'm reading what because at no point did I see that she caused a disturbance.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Nathan. I was in there, and I mean, I don't agree with the mask thing, but she was asked. The option was put a mask on, or you need to step out of the court. And she said, I'm not leaving the court. The judge said, if you don't, you have to leave the court. And so a disturbance, it was delaying the process. Was she being loud? No. Was she threatening anybody? No. But I think the disturbance could be articulated, whether I agree with it or not, because given the option, like you've made it clear you don't want to put a mask on. You can step outside into the lobby and not delay the court any further. The delay was because she basically sat there and just said no, and that's it. And she just sat there. So was it?
That could be still a disturb the court. If you take you 5 seconds to 5 minutes,
I think you have to articulate it. I guess it depends on who's trying to find the fact. If they think that's a disturbance, I don't know. Was she loud and boisterous? No. Was she disobeying a direct order from a judge? Yes. Does she have to? I guess that's the argument that needs to be made. Under contempt, it seems to me that it could fit, whether somebody else agrees with it or not. Anything that in magistrate court, I know that the remedy is there's an appeal in district court. Like that would be the next step. It would go there.
But to appeal something, there has to be an arraignment.
Well,
not a charge.
I think she can appeal an action, but I also understand your point. I'm not an attorney. But I also understand your point of what can you appeal if something's already been done. I understand that. I don't know the answer to that. I don't have anything in my experience or my history here to draw on to say this is what it is. Every other court commitment we've done has usually been somebody violates an order of the court on an existing case and the judge says you need to turn yourself in on this day. It's not a new charge. It's not contempt. They're saying it's a sanction that the court is doing. The person comes in and they're typically held for whatever the time period is and then they're released.
And I haven't entered this door, but nowhere on that door does it say master required.
I think it's only inside the courtroom, and I think the argument she's making is, I think it says masks are required. She's saying it doesn't say anywhere that masks need to be worn.
Yeah,
There's a spirit of the rule, though. I mean, you understand that not everything can be written, or it could be written better. There's all these things. There is a spirit to the rule. Clearly, we understand, whether we agree with it or not, that they're not saying you can walk in there with a mask in your hand, and that's the order.
But what and we're just arguing
Yes,
now.
well,
But under the governor's orders, there are exceptions. HIPAA, religious. At any time, does it point her exceptions, or was she asked if she has an exception?
well, things might have been different if there was an exception, and she said, I cannot wear a mask for this reason. And then if he says, that's fine, I accept that. She doesn't have an exception. She knows she doesn't, and she's not claiming she does. She basically just says, I don't agree with it. I'm not going to put it on. And then she said, I have the mask right here. And he said something to the effect of, you have to put it on. I know there's exceptions, and that would be something he could take into consideration. An exception may have been something that changed this. But to her credit, she didn't come in there trying to claim some false exception that she knows she doesn't have. This isn't a religious thing for her. It's clearly it's a political thing, or she feels very strongly about, she thinks this is a horrible rule.
Yeah, and if that's not a belief, then what is religion?
Well, but I guess we could go around and around. I see your point.
Really,
it is a belief. Is it religious?
Some people believe they worship girls' butts.
She didn't make the argument, I guess, is my question, is my point to that. She said, I just don't agree with it. No, I'm not going to put a mask on. I think once she got outside, I mean, she'd made her point, but by that point, I guess it was too late.
At this point, I mean, just in no way, shape, form is this over.
I understand that.
In the statute, this is ugly.
What's that?
This will get ugly in the statute.
Well, I mean, I think I can only tell you that from our standpoint, I don't want us to be in the middle of this. Clearly, we're going to be. What can I say other than that? I have a lot of respect for you, your family, for these other folks that show up and do these things. It's not personal, but I don't like being put in the middle of it either. And I would hope there would be a way that this could be resolved without forcing that issue. Like there are places to make these arguments, and there may be valid legal arguments here. But coming in and continuing forcing the hand, if they continue, I don't know how the district court's going to handle it. I think up to this point they've been pretty lenient, whether people agree with their decisions or not, about not pushing it to a level of where it's a law enforcement issue. I would ask that, to the extent that you have the ability to, if we can keep it below that level, you're not going to get any problem from us. Like, I just don't want it to keep getting escalated to where all of a sudden we're at odds. We don't need to be at odds. Because when this thing ends, we're still going to have to, I'm still going to see you in Estancia. I'm still going to drive past these other folks. We have to work in this community too. And I guess the argument would be, well, we don't have to follow that rule. And that's where I think we differ. Because I feel like we do.
But to make the statement that, oh, don't bring it to the legal level in a court.
Well, no, what I mean, no, I don't mean legal, and that was a poor choice of words. I mean, getting your argument across, short of getting to the point where you're in contempt of court. Like if it sounds like there's a real belief here that this is not correct, that this action today is not correct. If there's a place that can be argued, all that comes out of that argument, honestly, is more clarification. Like, this was thrown on us a long time ago, and the fact that it's only getting to this point at the end of it is a miracle. Like, it never rose to this level before, I don't know. I guess it's...
Well, you should know for a fact, I have fought this, and I've requested from the courts at every level, but they only give you the answer they want you to see, not the answer that So it's
Well-
not like today we decided we don't want to.
No, but a contempt thing. I understand the arguments have been around forever. But has the sheriff's office been involved in any of that?
Yeah, they've escorted me out of this place.
Well, if people tell you to leave, that's different. It's again, they have the right to do that. They have the right to ask you to leave.
If you're breaking the law.
It's not. It doesn't have to be a law. In the court, the judge can ask you to leave if you're being disorderly in their opinion. That's where we disagree. There's not, because if that were the case, then this contempt could have never occurred, because there is no law regarding the masks. It's a rule, and whose rule is it? It's the judge's to follow. That rule applies to the court. The judge, I guess the argument is, does he have to enforce it? The argument there is, his bosses essentially are telling him, yes, he does. Does he work for the Supreme Court, or does he work for the citizens? It's the same thing as the district judges down in Estancia. I know there's judges down there that have openly said they don't agree with the mask mandate, but they're still following that for their courtroom. I don't know the right answer.
Yeah, but he does work for citizens because he's elected.
I understand that, but
District's a little bit different.
well, but he still has to answer to district, and the district has to answer to the Supreme Court. Is it not a reasonable expectation to think that he has to answer to the same source? Everybody has to get some directives from somewhere. Whether we agree with them or not, there are directives that come down. Like, not everything's a law. Anyway, yeah.
I don't know what paperwork we can get, but I definitely want to see what the statute.
You're welcome to go in and ask the clerk. I mean, if you don't get it from them, then you just need to let us know, because everything that we have will be attached to our case. And you already know, I mean, I don't know if an IPA request is appropriate. I don't know how it's gotten, but we would fulfill that immediately. I mean, if that's the way that those records are being requested. It used to be you could just call the office. I don't know how it's working now, but I'm sure you can figure out however you need to do that if that's the place it needs to go.
I know. I said, I just happened to be driving through town when they called. And I'm like, there ain't much I can do.
Well, and I'm not real happy about it either. We came to testify in a felony aggravated assault case.
Came to help her neighbor
know.
that they just
I know.
did a land exchange.
I know. I respect the fact that she's got the conviction to stand up for something. I wish it hadn't gone this way. This doesn't benefit anybody. But, I mean, it's where we're at.
Still working on it.
Okay. Are they going to be able to give that to you?
It's what they say.
Okay. Well, then we're going to get out of here. We need to get back down south. And I'll get the report taken care of today. It'll be done. It's simply just going to have the order attached to it. And that's where we're at. All right?
And then in 24 hours, she just walks out of this.
They will call. And obviously, I think she would have an opportunity to call first to either arrange for somebody to come pick her up, or what we would, well, you know the way final releases work. If there's nobody there, I'm sure that somebody can pick her up. But it typically is literally 24 hours from the time the order is signed. So if it's 3:15, it'll be 3:15 or slightly earlier than that tomorrow. Okay? All right. Thank you, gentlemen.